Hey, we're back. Well, I'm back. I'm going to try to make this my mock draft revenge episode. We're going to try to get at least three mock drafts done. I'm going to try to do one from the beginning, the middle, and the end, just to show you where on Yahoo, because this is the most popular. Yahoo and Sleep are the two most popular um, mock drafts, well, popular fantasy football platforms. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to show you where you guys should be drafting, who you guys should be drafting, and where you should be picking them up. But before we get into all of that, let's get into the intro.
Allow us to reintroduce ourselves.
The Fantasy Football Avengers presents the offseason with Kyle Shanahan's Boulevard, GI-16, Young Christ the Jesus,
and sometimes Garfield, no Nurble.
and now, here's the boys.
Hey, I don't want to be too loud because Garfield over here asleep. I don't want to bother him and wake him up so he can be all in the camera, all in the videos. But let's see what we got cooking. Today, I am trying to draft from I'm starting from the 1Z position. So let's see if we can share my screen. All right. So now you guys can see everything that I'm doing. I got the number one pick in this draft. And no, I am not looking to draft Jamar Chase. That is the 1-1 for a lot of you people. I'm not mad at it, especially if you're in a PPR league. But I tend to like players in the first round. And I normally win more leagues than I don't when I employ this strategy. But in the first round, especially in a one quarterback league, give me the running back because who touches the ball more than a running back? Especially if you're looking at a guy like Saquon, Bijan, Jameer, guys who not only do they get their runs, but they also catch the ball as well. Christian McCaffrey, who I love, but in this mock draft, if I'm at the 1-1, I don't think I'm taking Christian McCaffrey. I'm gonna gamble on Saquon with the Madden cover curse because you're looking at Saquon. You know, the only deterrent from drafting Saquon is Hurts. Is Hurts vulturing on the goal line? That's the only deterrent. But and we're ready to go. We're ready to go. So you're going to give me Saquon to start the draft. All right. Saquon's gone. Chase is up next. Justin Jefferson went third. Gibbs went fourth. Now, this is when I usually start looking at who the next player is. Well, since I'm at the 1-1, I'm looking at who are the next two players that I'm going to take. And for these positions, we need two running backs, two wide receivers, and a flex. I like to start my drafts off with three strong running backs. So if I'm looking over here, I'm looking at who's possibly next, who could possibly fall to me. Uh, I'm praying that Chase Brown would fall back to me. I know Genty's not going to fall to me. Definitely looking at Omari and Hampton. I'm definitely looking at James Cook in this position. My forever guy, Alvin Kamara. I'm kind of staring at Kyron Williams as well because I know Kyron Williams is going to get a lot of volume. Uh, I know Devon A. Chan's not going to fall to me, and neither is Jonathan Taylor or Bucky Irvin, but I will put stars around them just in case. This is when I usually start praying that three people mess up and take quarterbacks or reach for another player at this point, because if I can get one of these three guys to fall to me, one of these four guys to fall to me, if I can get a Chan, a Taylor, a Irving, uh, a Chase Brown to fall to me, and then follow it up with an Omari and Hampton, I feel like I'm walking out of this draft cooking. And what I'll do for the next draft, the middle of the draft, I'll implore a different type strategy. But this is my normal strategy in one QB leagues. I want the three best running backs that I can get. And Jonathan Taylor took. So now I have to start looking elsewhere for my running back help. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys are they're playing the ADP, or sometimes you get into these Yahoo fantasy drafts, and it's usually people will sign up and they just won't draft. Oh, and somebody took Omarion Hampton, so somebody's paying attention. So I'm gonna take James Cook, and I'm gonna take my forever guy, Alvin Kamara. So you're probably asking, well, the Saints are projected to be one of the worst fantasy teams in football this year, offensively. Why are you drafting Alvin Kamara? Because who else do they have? You got the ghost of Crystal Olave, and then you got Rashid Shaheed. Nobody else is going to get any volume over there. Kamara, by default, by default, Kamara is going to get a ton of work. So Alvin Kamara, to me, you got Saquon Barkley, James Cook, and Alvin Kamara to start your draft, and not a bad draft. There's going to be wide receivers later on in the draft, so you don't need to really break your neck to get a wide receiver. Now, I'm going to look at Tyreek Hill. I'm going to look at Terry McLaurin. I'm going to look at Devontae Adams. Uh, who else am I looking at? Yeah, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, and Devontae Adams are my picks if they fall there. I'm also going to look at Travion Henderson. I like Travion Henderson. I could look to take my favorite quarterback. But yeah, this is when I start strategizing and I start paying attention to what's going on the board because I'm still going to need a wide receiver, two of them. And I start praying that one or two of my guys fall to me. I wouldn't mind DK Metcalf, but I'm a bit iffy about DK Metcalf. And the reason I'm a bit iffy about DK Metcalf, it's not because of DK Metcalf's talent. DK Metcalf definitely does have the talent. I'm I think Rodgers is shot. Because Rodgers had Garrett Wilson with him last year, and it just seems like Rodgers just doesn't connect with anyone that's not Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams got to the Jets last year, got a ton of work, but it just seems like Rodgers can only connect with that guy. Now you look right here. This is my pick right here. I'm praying that somebody does something foolish and pushes one of these three to me. It looks like they're not. Tyreek Hill in the fourth round is excellent value this year. Oh, come on. Can you push Tyreek Hill to me too? Can we get a Tyreek Hill push to me? Looks like this whoever this Tyler guy is, he's auto drafting. Now I just hope that whoever Jay Patel is, I'm hoping that he doesn't take Tyreek Hill. He goes elsewhere. And he went elsewhere. Give me Tyreek Hill and give me Devontae Adams. Give me Devontae Adams. Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I'm cooking already. If this was an actual league, uh, people would be toast. Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Saquon Barkley, Cook, Kamara. Yeah, cooking. It's too early for me to look at a. I think it may be too early for me to look at quarterback. No, tight end. It's too early for me to look at tight end. I got I got my guy who I'm thinking about in all my drafts. But give me a Mecca. I'll look at Stephon Diggs. Let me see what quarterbacks we have left on the board. Okay, so there's Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield. You know what? Dak may be good this year because they're going to throw a lot. He's going to have to throw a lot. And he has two viable options. So I'm not scared to take Dak Prescott this year. But my guy that I'm looking at in if I don't get Joe Burrow, if I don't get Joe Burrow in any of my fantasy leagues, my pivots are Bo Nix and Brock Purdy. Those are my pivots. So I think I'm going to take my quarterback next. And I like Bo Nix because of his rushing upside. They have a ton of nice weapons down in Denver this year. So I'm definitely looking at Bo Nix. If he can give you wide receiver when quarterback 7 production again this year, great. I'll take it. And then I'm probably gonna look to take another. I'm either gonna take another running back if a good one falls to me, like Caleb Johnson, or I might just take another wide receiver. And who just went off the board? Oh, somebody took a Mecca. Whoever took a Mecca this early, I hope when you get up, you stub your toe on the hardest edge of your bed. I honestly wouldn't mind if Pacheco fell to me as well, but I know that's not going to happen. But I want to make sure that I secure my guy because I want to at least, if I can at least have 4 really good running backs on my team, that saves me just in case somebody gets hurt. If you can only play one flex spot, at least have one other guy there because if you happen to have an injury, you don't want to be scrambling. You know what I mean? Especially if you don't have a top waiver wire pick and you can't just immediately pick up the backup. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to take your guy that's cooking on your bench and put him in that spot. I have I have high hopes for Caleb Johnson this year. And I'm going to take Caleb Johnson. And I'm also going to take Bo Nix. They have Bo Nix projected to do 300 less yards in the air, 60 less yards on the ground, 6 less TDs, but the same amount of rushing TDs. Well, 6 less TDs in the air, same amount of rushing TDs. I can live with those stats. But although I do believe that Bo Nix is going to go, he's going to go over 4,000 yards passing this year. Going to go over 4,000 yards passing. I don't know if he eclipses 30 yards. 30 TDs in the air. Don't know if he eclipses that. But I definitely can see him doing close to 400 on the ground, maybe 3 to 5 TDs. So over 4,000 yards, close to 400 on the ground, 28 TDs in the air, 5 TDs on the ground. Yeah, you can win with that. The whole thing about this is to have the most balanced team that you can have. Like you want to have consistent production from all of your starting spots. That's what you're aiming for. So now we're coming down to my pick. I got 12 picks to go. I'm honestly staring down Evan Ingram. Even though he's not the guy I wanted tight end, he's not my guy. He's not my guy. I'm still going to draft my guy. But because I went Bo Nix, I'm kind of interested in going with Evan Ingram because, hey, why not? Why not take the tight end to your number one quarterback and get the stack going? Get those, as my homeboys say, the double points. And you know what? Because I know it's so much talent. Yeah, I just kind of showed y'all my guy, my guy at tight end. And because I know it's so much talent later in this draft, once my starters have been set, I kind of want to throw a wrench in people's plans. So I may look at to take the best defense on the board or take the best kicker on the board. Because I know, like, what round are we in? We're in round 7 right now. This is when people usually 7, 8 is when people usually start reaching for those kickers or those defenses. And all it takes is one person to start the train. One person takes a defense, and then next thing you know, you see everybody taking a defense. I probably won't see that in this draft because this is like I said, this is the mock drafts, and people don't usually do that in the mock draft. You have people on here that are not even drafting. I'm looking at one, two, three, four, 5 people that are auto drafted for whatever reason. I don't understand, but let me draft Evan Ingram and give me Denver's defense. So now I got almost all of my starters. And let's see, I honestly don't think I don't think my guy's gonna make it back to me. Mr. Tyler Warren. I don't think he's gonna make it back to me. But let me see. Now, me personally, people always say you don't draft injured players. Damn all that. I will take a good injured player. Because if you have a spot where you can stash them in IR spot, why not stash them in the IR spot? Like a guy like Brandon Ayuk. My whole mentality is they come back to form near your fantasy playoffs. If you're in the fantasy playoffs, that's going to be a boost for you. And I don't mind taking a late flyer on a Quinshawn Judkins. Again, I start thinking about the fantasy playoffs. You got to think 2, 3 steps ahead when you're doing these. You just got to. Not real interested in Keenan Allen this year. Love Keenan Allen. I know what Keenan Allen can do, but it's too many mouths to feed in that Chargers offense. which is great for Justin Herbert. It is great for Justin Herbert. You got three guys that you could possibly sling the ball around to. So great for Justin Herbert. And somebody took my guy at 103. Somebody took Tyler Warren. Damn you, Kevin. But you play the game sometimes. So what am I going to do with my next pick? I am probably going to take Brandon Aubrey if he's still on the board. If Brandon Aubrey is not on the board, then I pivot. Again, you should always be queuing up players. Always. And you should always have 2 or 3 pivots per round. Because in the later rounds, what are we? We are in round 10. Round 10. Round 10 is the perfect round to start reaching in. I brought up Justin Herbert. If Justin Herbert falls to me, I will take Justin Herbert. You definitely would like to lock up to 2 certified quarterbacks with some upside. Just in case one player is having a down year. Oh, I didn't think he was going to make it back to me. You know what? Give me Rashid Shaheed. Now, now give me Brandon Aubrey. So now my whole team is fixed. Now I'm just drafting for the bench. And I'm definitely going to do a lot of reaching. Definitely going to do a lot of reaching. All right. So let's see. You got to scroll through and see. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no. No. Kyle Pitts is a major no. I like this guy right here. Hate his name as a 49er fan, but I love his potential. Kyle Pitts. Every 49er fan dreads that name. Been hearing good things out of Christian Kirk in the Texans camp this year. I'm hearing that Christian Kirk is actually showing out as the number 2 receiver. It's not Higgins, it's Christian Kirk, which is understandable. Christian Kirk had a pretty decent season when he was in Jacksonville. You know what? We're sleeping on CJ Stroud this year. I think he has a bounce back year. I don't know if he's gonna be gangbusters like he was in his rookie year. To start his rookie year, we thought that he was the next Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he's gonna be that, but I feel like he's going to have a decent year. Also interested in Bryce Young. The way he ended the season last year, like he had something to prove, which he did. He had something. He definitely had something to prove. But before I take QB2, I am going to do a little reaching. Give me Brandon Ayuk. Give me give me Quinshaw Judkins. So now I have 2 picks left. Hopefully, somebody from my list makes it back to me because people are now going to have to start picking defenses. And if this was regular, a regular fantasy league, Ayuk would immediately go to my IR spot, and then I would be looking for someone to add to the bench until he comes back. I think I have a pretty decent haul. Bo Nix, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Saquon Barkley, James Cook, Evan Ingram, Alvin Kamara, Brandon Aubrey, Denver's defense, Caleb Johnson, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Ayuk, Quinshawn Judkins. Now I need 2 more high upside picks at wide receiver, and I'm good. I'm looking at you, Trey Harris. Let's look at these wide receivers. Oh man, how far DeAndre Hopkins has fallen. He might actually have a decent year this year too. All right, my turn to pick. You know what? Give me Kyle Williams and Trey Harris. So I got a nice little vet squad. Got some vets with some up and coming rookies. some high upside players, that's what you want to leave your draft with. You want to leave your draft with guys that you know are gonna cook in position, and then you want to have some high upside players, just in case these guys happen to take off after the middle of the season. Because we all know some rookies start off slow and then they start cooking after the mid-season, and then this is when you have some decisions to make. Who's not giving you consistent production versus who is giving you consistent production. And then you want to move the guys into the lineup that are giving you consistent production. So, yeah. That's where we're going to go today with this one. I'll be back again from the middle position. But, yeah, I ended my team with Bo Nix, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Saquon Barkley, James Cook, Evan Ingram, Alvin Kamara, Brandon Aubrey, the Denver defense, Caleb Johnson, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Ayuk, Quinshon Judkins, Kyle Williams, and Trey Harris. My whole bench is full of young players with some upside. If Quinshon Judkins ever gets on the field, he may get into my starting lineup. Over who? I don't know. Caleb Johnson. I'm more impressed with Caleb Johnson than I am with Jaylen Warren. Like, Jaylen Warren has never shown me anything that I need to be impressed about. So, that is my team. And we're going to get me back on camera. All right. So, that was draft number one, mock draft number one. I feel so much better after this draft than I did the initial one that I did when I was not able to take my number one pick, and then I had a couple of picks stolen from me because Yahoo was acting crazy, all because of the screen that I had, the monitor that I had. It was not letting me see everything. So, with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. But you guys are gonna see me again. You guys are gonna see me again. The season is starting soon. We are in mock draft season. Get in these leagues, pay attention to what we're telling you, and crush these leagues.
Thank you for watching the Fantasy Football Avengers podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Links in the description.